You see something, you see someone walking in the background and there's no cue. You're just like, guys. I think it's crazy to call it a trash movie. I enjoyed my watch. Kenny?
Kenny?
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to More Butter, the channel with more content. And today we have the Camp Counselors finale, I do believe, unless something gets switched around on the back end. But we thought it would be a good excuse to look at some of your guys' unpopular opinions. We've had an interesting season this year of talking about some of the worst of the worst, the funnest of the worst. So we thought we'd take a look at some of your opinions on what we might consider to be the best movies and get you guys involved. And then we can rip on each other and make fun of you. It's a great thing. So make sure to leave some 5-star ratings on the podcast. We would greatly appreciate that. But my name is Amanda the Jedi, and I am joined today by my co-hosts Kennie JD.
Hi.
And Mista GG.
Hey, what's up, guys?
I just got I said that so enthusiastically because I was like, JD and GG, it kind of rhymes. So my brain was really happy about it.
There was an ongoing, somebody really theatrically was like, I've always wondered, what is the JD? And I've searched through your entire channel to find out what is the JD. And I was like, it's my initials, dude. It's not that deep. It's not deeper than that.
I think someone asked once and I was like, yeah, it's Kenny Jesus damn. It's just...
I got some fun ones. There was I can do the dramatic reading of the original tweet.
Yeah, that's good.
After hours of intensive research, my friend, and they tag their friend, and I have queried about the very meaning of JD. Who is JD? What is JD? Why is JD? To no avail. After many bad movies and many great beats, nothing. We have but a simple question. What might it stand for? And they added me, and I was like, my initials.
Just
and then
ultimate letdown.
And it's Kentucky Jermaine Dupree, Kendrell Haritos of Detroit,
Haritos of Detroit.
Kenny Jason Derulo, which just feels wrong because I can't stand Jason Derulo. And I was one of the first to say it. I'm just, I had no reason to hate Jason Derulo, and I just did from the onslaught. And I'm so happy I've been vindicated and I've been vilified. People were like, "Why do you hate this man?" I was like, "I don't know. I just do." And now, over time, we've just gotten more and more evidence that my intuition was correct.
It's like Cats came out, and we were like, see, this man's a fucking menace. Look at him on the Kelly Clarkson show.
TikToks.
Yeah.
And then he started doing TikToks, and I was like, aha.
Yeah. The TikTok arrow is what got me. I was like,
Sir, you should have no time for this. So
yeah, that little Jason Derulo doesn't hit the same anymore.
Jason Derulo.
Man, I don't know.
It doesn't.
I'm sure this is fake. There was a tweet that said he used to say that during sex, and that's what led to the breakup of him and Jordan Sparks.
Just announced himself inside every time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But movie opinions.
Movie opinions. Real quick before we hop into it, though, we are super close to hitting 30,000 subscribers on the channel. So if you're not yet subscribed, it would be awesome if you could do that. We would greatly appreciate it. The sub button's just down there. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but yeah. Unpopular opinions. So I guess some of these kind of went in a little bit of a theme. So we're going to run through a couple of those ones, but there's definitely some other interesting ones that I saw that I feel like it would be fun to get into. And the more people we include in this, it's fun. It's fun. But the ones that we've got are kind of 3 relatively well-received horror movies, either from an artistic level or from an overwell reception level. but you should have at least heard of them if you haven't seen them. But the first unpopular opinion is coming from the user Vinush, I think. Vinush. Vinush, and they have laid out the full explanation of their issues here. Midsommar is absolute shit. Unlikable characters, played by bad actors, make stupid decisions because the movie needs to happen. It's not shocking, gross, or disturbing. It's dull and pretentious. Ari Aster is a good cinematographer, but a poor writer and director. All right, I personally disagree. How about you two?
I say boo.
Say boo.
And no one asked we explicitly asked you. But you're wrong, is what I say. Shut up.
All right. What about you, Mike?
Have you seen that one, Mike?
I've never seen the movie, so I saw Hereditary.
Okay, I was going to ask.
And I saw there's something about the Johnsons, or whatever it's called. So
how was your feelings on someone about the Johnsons? Yeah. Sorry, not to get sidetracked.
I like that movie in a very weird way because it's just
I did too.
Good.
Yeah.
When I first watched it, when it became like a meme kind of on the internet, everyone was like, "Oh, this is fucking disgusting piece of shit." And then rewatching it, I was like, "No, this is actually good. I like this."
Yeah.
He's good at what he does. He's like super good. He did an AMA like not long after Midsommar came out, or like right around when it did, and just like. One of the questions was just like, "Are you okay?" And it was just no, just no. And like he wants to do a comedy apparently, and I just need to know what an Ari Aster comedy would feel like, because so many moments in his movies feel funny because if you're so uncomfortable, you have to laugh. Mm-hmm. You're like,
I feel like that would just be the entire experience.
Yeah, so. I'd be interested to see what happens when he's like intentionally trying to like be comedic. But yeah, in terms of this opinion, I completely disagree. I can understand why this movie isn't for everyone, but to call Ari Aster a poor writer and director is like absurd
just
to me.
Disingenuous.
Yeah, I in a lot of ways makes me call into question like if you know what you think you're criticizing there, but. Again, if you don't like it, that's totally fine.
I think, I've always had the opinion, which in and of itself is perhaps a bit of a controversial opinion, that I prefer this over Hereditary.
Same.
Well, I've gotten really called out for that because everybody's like, no, like Hereditary is like his best work and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, I had some like continuity errors with Hereditary, and I've had a lot of people say like, oh, you've just taken it too literary and blah blah blah, and I was like, I don't think so. I don't find myself being like particularly obtuse to certain like allegories, but I just wasn't getting the connection that they were trying to make. But Hereditary was good, as in like it's fun quote unquote to watch, but and some scenes really, especially taken out of context, are legendary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like fucking sawing your own head off with piano wire in midair.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that.
Was
the
like,
head banging. The head banging on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Great. But I think just Midsommar just felt more like a movie that, I hate to say, it's scary because it can happen. But it's like, it's really more so about like how predatory certain interpersonal relationships are, and I think that in of itself is more terrifying to me than kind of the ghost stories stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the Hereditary stuff, like that whole like possession stuff is like, there's obviously the bigger, like there's the allegory for what that's representing in this family and their dynamic and everything, but then like Midsommar has like the psychological stuff while what's actually happening, this like whole idea that some people walk away being like, good for her. But it's like, nah, she just got like indoctrinated into like a white supremacist cult to be like a baby making machine. Like this is not a good thing. She was preyed on. They specifically knew she had no family, no attachments, no nothing. She's fucking preyed on to like come into this. Like it's horrifying.
And that's
it happens
what
everywhere.
I think was so scary afterwards is like, did we watch? Because I think that's what was so scary about the experience. I was like, did we watch the same movie? Like, because
I just think a lot of people are like, well, I've had a bad boyfriend or a bad girlfriend, and I feel like to an extent, some people have been the person who's like maybe stayed in situations where they know that maybe they shouldn't have stayed just because they're trying to like not rock the boat, or they're waiting for like the right moment, and then like things just keep getting like worse. So you end up being like the shitty partner that you don't even want to necessarily be the shitty partner. So I just feel like, but if you've been on the receiving end of that, it's like really fucking horrible. So I think by the end, when everyone's like, "Oh my God, triumph!
Light him on fire,
queen," and it's like, no,
burn
like,
him inside a bear suit, queen. It's like, because I remember what made me want to watch it was like the trailers and everything, but then I had forgotten about it, and I was like, because I remember seeing the trailers for it on TV, thinking like, that's a movie that I would enjoy. I need to watch that at some point, and I just forgot about it. But what brought it back to me was seeing like a Twitter post of some sort that was kind of like, these are girl boss.
Yes. I call
characters.
I call it the good for her cinematic universe.
There we go. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't think this movie, and there was a lot of like argument.
Yeah. Most of the people on that list don't belong. Like they don't belong. Like absolutely not good for her, queen. Not good for her.
Like this is she is now burned everyone alive and is now in a cult, and who knows where we'll go after that. So yeah, I'll say you're wrong.
I agree. I think, and it's, again, if you don't like this movie, I can totally understand. It's not going to be for everyone, and you can also like appreciate what the story's going for and still not like how it was like executed. Fair. But I just think that the critique of like bad acting, like not being like, shocking Pugh. Or bad
Florence
writing.
Pugh is bad acting.
She's amazing. That was her year. So good.
I'm so excited to see the new one. I forget what it's called, but the one with
don't
Harry
something
Styles
something. Yeah. Don't something. I can't remember either, but yeah, I'm excited. She's great.
That looks good.
But yeah, I think Ari Aster is so good at what he does in that he will show something shocking, but then cut to the reaction of the person seeing it so that you see their horror. But then he will cut back to whatever that disturbing imagery is and like hold on it for a bit. So like in Hereditary,
the mush face.
Yeah, exactly. The mush face. In Hereditary, it's like the bugs crawling all over her face after you're getting like the horrific screams from Toni Collette's character while Alex is just like catatonic in his bed. And then in like Midsommar, it is the smushed faces, you know? And he will just hold on it. So instead of showing you the thing as it happened, it's just it's the aftermath, and it comes like out of nowhere so that you think you're safe. You're like, okay, well, at least I didn't see it happen. You fucking did. Now you get to see the aftermath of it, which is like worse in some ways. So like I think he's very good at what he does. He has a very specific style. So we respectfully disagree. Mike abstains from the question.
Yes.
No, I still disagree with you. Fuck you.
So then the next one is one I personally really disagree with, but me and Kenny kind of talked a little bit, but It Follows was a trash movie. I disagree.
I don't think it's trash.
No, it's not.
I don't think it's good.
I think it gets silly at times for sure, and like falls apart a little bit in areas. But It Follows is the first time in like years. I mean like years that something made me feel anxious while like after the movie was done. So like I'm going home and I'm like looking around. I'm like, what the fuck? So like, for those who don't know, It Follows is like the STD ghost horror movie, basically, is that like, yeah, somebody has sex with you and then suddenly this thing, and you never know what it looks like, you never know who it's going to be, is just walking towards you. It's never going to stop walking towards you. And if it gets you, it's going to like brutally fucking massacre you. So the only way to get it off your tail is to keep spreading it. And then it can always come back. Because if that person doesn't spread it fast enough, as this thing kills people, it moves its way back down the list. So it's always hunting someone, and you never know if it's going to be you. So that hit something in my brain that I was just looking. I'm like,
I'll abstain from my opinion for the time. Did you see it, Mike?
Yeah, I saw this one.
Okay.
Did you like
this
one?
I think it's kind of crazy to call it a trash movie. I think if I was being honest with myself, I think I wanted to like it more than I actually did like it.
Fair.
But I mean, I thought the concept was interesting. I thought the way they portray, like, it just, there was no answers for so long in that movie, so I kind of felt like I was just being led to the dark, which I like when I'm just like, what the fuck is going on right now? But I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a good horror movie. It was kind of like that anxiety feeling that I just kept feeling, which I just like. I like when a movie's able to make me feel uncomfortable, even when I'm in my own home, just fucking chilling. And it's not just this weird, like shitty jump scare fest or anything like that. It's like, no, you're just waiting. You see something, you see someone walking in the background and there's no cue. No one's talking about anything, but you're just like, guys, fucking someone look over there. So I think it's crazy to call it a trash movie. I enjoyed my watch. Kenny?
Kenny?
Yeah. I'll say this. I didn't think it was bad. I think saying trash is a little strong.
Okay, now we're at least on a reasonable playing field.
I think calling it trash is a little strong. I do think, though, kind of leading into, and maybe this is because I had heard of it, but I didn't really know much about other than some people saying like it's a really good horror movie. So I was going in like anticipating more so, and I think maybe that is partially why it felt a bit like a letdown.
Okay,
like,
fair.
I watched it and I was like, oh, okay. Like I maybe that's it. I didn't get like the sensory like what's gonna happen feeling. I was just like, okay, so where is this going? Like, and then it finally got me there, and I'm like, an STD monster.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. It's an STD monster. And then with something like an STD monster, maybe this is my fault. I kind of assume that there's supposed to be like some deeper meaning to that. And I'm like, okay, so is this like a conversation around like what is this? Like where are we getting at here with the particular use of like sex as horror and like sexual disease as horror? Is it supposed to be in any way indicative of like a bigger moral outside of that, or is it just like a cool concept?
I think it's a combination.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. And so like I was kind of watching it, and I think at times I was supposed to feel anxious. I was more so saying like, what are you getting at? Like, where are you going? And I think that kind of like took me out of the actual feeling of anxiety. Maybe on a second watch where I'm just kind of like, well, I don't even know if the effect would work again in the second way now that I've seen it, like the anxiety inducing kind of feel. But I want it to feel more scared, and I wasn't, because the things used to scare me were naked people, naked people, and
that's fair.
And fucking. I was like, oh, okay. Well, neither of these things particularly scare me. So like, here we go.
Yeah. I saw this like opening night, like in theaters. So there wasn't like no one knew what it really was yet. We just had like the trailer. So I think that obviously helps. Like by now everybody's like, oh yeah, the STD one. So it's just kind of like, if you kind of know where it's going from the get-go, I think it removes a lot of that tension. But like for me, the anxiety is really just this thing that is like constantly coming towards you. You don't know when it's going to get you. And like the anxiety that comes from that. And it's like, as far as I know, it's actually like a primal thing in brains. And I can't remember if I've talked about this probably not. There's like kind of the same reason why we like are kind of really horrified by something like zombies, and why like the lumbering killer and like slow moving horror villain and stuff is that we're kind of scared of things that hunt the same way we do. So when we hunted back in the day, we would, this fucking saber-toothed tiger sees this like hairless thing sleeking towards it, it runs away, and it's like, shit, that thing was weird. And then it just goes about its business, and then it like wakes up 8 hours later with a fucking spear over its head because like we never stopped hunting it down. So I think that there's a part of our brain that is afraid of that still in some like primal way. So like for me, it's just the idea of this thing is constantly lumbering towards you. You can fly across the world, you can go anywhere, but eventually that thing will find you. And it just takes letting your guard down for like 1 second for it to just like have you. So. And
I will say that I could see how it would have this kind of like long held like pull tension thing that could be really anxiety inducing and like keeping you tight. I it's funny because I like brought it up I was texting somebody and he was like, "What are you up to?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm watching It Follows. I don't know if I'm getting it." He's like, "It's my favorite movie. It was made in Michigan too." I was like, "Now you're gonna make me feel bad that I still don't like it."
Yeah. I kind of agree with you though with the thought thing. Like thinking about something in a movie where you're like start asking a bunch of questions, that takes me out of the movie if I really start to dive deep and I'm like, because now you're just like studying in your own head and you're not actually paying attention to the movie. So I kind of feel you on that. And in addition, I tried watching It Follows before I fully watched it as like a passive like, oh, cutesy just horror movie on the fly.
You can't.
That doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
I got like maybe like 10 minutes in and I was like, turn this shit off.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, you have to be like zoned in.
Yeah.
And it's not the vibe.
Yeah, I don't think I would have enjoyed this as much if I tried to watch it at home because I get distracted way too easily with everything all the fucking time. I have to work like really hard to like.
Also, in fairness, I may have been passively playing Clue at the same time.
That's what I mean. I mean, that's all it takes to pull you out of the tension.
Yeah. No.
And that was probably not. I was Mrs. Orchid.
That's okay. That's okay. But this director is like he's a interesting dude. He most of his movies are kind of like weird and that you can't necessarily anticipate where like something's going. And there's like a lot of different layers you can look into. His follow-up Under the Silver Lake is another one. I really love it too, but it's so fucking weird. It has like Andrew Garfield in it, and it's just like this series of like conspiracy theories like growing up on like building on top of each other, and then it's like most people be like, well, that didn't have a satisfying ending, and it's like, well, I think that's also kind of the point. But I just appreciate him because I think he's got interesting ideas and like how he expresses them is like interesting. But I can understand again this not being the movie for everyone, and apparently people agree. This has a way lower audience score than I assumed. So critics like it a lot. Audiences have it at like a 66%, which seems like shockingly low. It's still fresh, but too low for me. But Kenny's like, no, valid, fair.
I feel it's fair. It's
good
fair.
rating. What does it have on Letterboxd? Letterboxd is at a 3.6 out of 5. That's good.
Really, that sounds low to me for some reason.
Yeah, it is
like a 60-something%.
No, out of 5, it's closer. It's like a 7.70, like a 7.8. Like it's between a 7 and an 8. But yeah,
math.
So yeah, math. I'm fucking terrible at it. And this last one, I actually think we're probably going to be like skipping over it because I think we've realized that I'm the only one who's seen Cabin in the Woods, but it's Linopolis called fucking terrible. Am I the only one who?
Linopolis.
Just tell them they're wrong. That's how you gotta do.
You're wrong. I can understand why you wouldn't like this, and I am actually not a huge fan of how the end is executed when other people love it, but fucking terrible is just way too strong for this movie. I like self-aware horror comedies that try to do something unique, so maybe I'm a little biased here, but it has a 92% from critics and a 74% from audiences. Fucking terrible is way too low. You could call it average if you wanted to, and we let that fly. But yeah.
We also have like other interesting. I was skimming through because we did like a
yeah, we posted.
I guess, we posted to let you guys give us your opinions, and I was just skimming through it, and I saw some that were particularly galvanizing. Someone liked Evan Hansen.
Yeah, that is our buddy Scott Kramer. That's our buddy Scott Kramer.
Hi, Scott. You liked Evan Hansen. Interesting.
Yeah, he said he kinda. And honestly, to an extent,
I actually kinda liked Dear Evan Hansen.
And to an extent, I can almost agree with him because is it a good movie? No, it's terrible. Was it a fun watch? Yes.
Really?
I saw it at a film festival. I was laughing. I was almost moved to tears, even though I was like, this kid's a fucking sociopath. When they get to the song Sincerely Me, where they're singing with the dead kid writing fake emails, hooked. That is still on my playlist.
Fair. Hey, I will say that some of the songs, if taken out of context, I'd listen to willfully.
bangers waving through the window.
Waving through the window.
Yeah, still on my playlist.
48-year-old man playing a high school junior.
Yes.
and talking about how his life is so terrible, even though he's playing like he's besties with a kid who just killed himself. Shout out to Dear Evan Hansen.
So, Mike, have you seen it? Do you know what it is?
I have no idea what Dear Evan Hansen is.
It's bad.
It was originally like a stage play. It was like a stage play. And it's basically, you don't really know the full story until you're done with it. But the general idea is that there's this kid, he's bullied all the time. And like the resident, like outcast, angry, violent, about to be a future criminal, tries to be nice to him one day after he like freaked out on him. Mm-hmm. And then he basically thinks that Evan was trying to antagonize him because of like this therapy letter he was writing to himself. So it's like, Dear Evan Hansen, but you're writing to yourself. And it's like all the things you're working through. But then that kid takes that and kills himself. Oh. So the parents find the letter in this kid's pocket and they think that it's a letter that their son wrote to Evan Hansen, not a therapy letter that Evan Hansen was writing for himself. And instead of correcting it, he goes along with it and then just gets deeper and deeper and deeper into it to give them peace. But it's really just to like make his own life better. Mm-hmm. And there's a world where this could have been less sociopathic and could have like been
more
decent,
empathetic, and like, we get it, like you're a bullied kid who like didn't have anybody, so we kind of get it. But there's so many things he did that made it like I can't defend you.
Like I recut the trailer with thriller music, and it like checks out. Like if this was from anyone else in the movie's perspective, it would be a fucking horror. That when you realize what happened, it's just kind of like and then he'd be in the doorway being like, what are you doing?
Wait, I have tears in my eyes because my favorite scene is the one where he has to like admit, because of course you see it coming, like at some point the shoe's gonna drop, so that's not much of a spoiler. But he's like, but it's a musical. That's the other. He's like singing his confession, and then he's like, everything you wish you had was right there, and he starts screaming at these like these bereaved parents, and they cut over to the parents who are just staring at him in horror.
So there's this kid just fucking like singing, like
he's crying
his
like
confession.
snot, and he's also like 38 playing 17 years old, so it doesn't work at all.
So the thing about the looks is that, so like it was a stage play originally. Ben Platt played Evan Hansen in the musical that was like nominated for Tonys, won a bunch of awards, and because his dad is a producer on the movie, it was really just kind of like, if Ben is not Evan Hansen, there's like no reason to make this apparently. But instead of just like letting him be Ben Platt, who doesn't look that old, like he's recently just been in like The Politician, which was like high schooler / early like first year college. Like he could still pass as a high schooler if you really needed him to. Their way of like trying to make him look younger was to just cover his face in a bunch of foundation, perm his hair. And he just comes across looking as like an oversized toddler. It's like you'd walk into school and be like,
with actual people that could pass as 17. So
and
he looks
some
like
of them
he's just
are.
like, it's
like
it
Amanda,
looks like he broke into the school.
Like my description was all like, people be like, what the fuck is this? And it's like, oh, that's the mayor's son. We just don't talk about it. Like we just have to. He's 38, but we just gotta let him keep chilling.
Right here in a video. This is like
makes
me think of like Will Ferrell for some reason.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like a comedy movie where they're trying to make Will Ferrell look like a high schooler, but it's okay if it looks like shit because it's a comedy movie, not a serious drama where they thought they were like, we're talking about important things. Like,
that's another element of it. Like, another thing that it kind of gets away with, I think, even though the story itself doesn't make Evan particularly likable, is that it's about mental illness because he's anxious and all that. And he takes medication and like he's bullied. And so like, again, there's all these things there that would make us more empathetic if this movie were done better. But at the point when you're like feigning a relationship with a dead kid in order to
get the things you want in life.
Also, he wants to fuck the dead kid's sister.
And basically, so she gets like emotionally gaslit by him, making up fake stories about like him, like the brother talking about her. And like they had a really strained relationship because like kid basically just like snapped one day and just became like this huge asshole, like borderline delinquent, like really abusive, like punching walls, screaming. So like Evan's kind of providing them with a side of their son that they thought they lost. And the side of the brother that they thought they lost. So she is now in a situation where a lot of the positive emotions she's really trying to feel for her dead brother are being like compounded in relationships for this fucking psycho kid that's lying about it all so that they can be in a relationship.
And also there's this, there's this scene where he's like, again, through song, he's like expressing his love for the girl. But in order to do that, he does it through
a song about the
dead kid.
Yeah. So he'd be because like, you're so good at playing guitar. Like, you know, like.
Yeah. In order to like make her feel better about her complicated abusive relationship with her now dead brother, he turns it into like, he really loved you. And then says all the reason why he is in love with her. And it's just weird. And I was like, so this would not make me feel particularly healthy. It makes me feel like maybe the reason why he was so abusive is because he had conflicting reasons for why he was sexually attracted to his sister.
Yeah, exactly.
It's bad. It's a terrible movie.
It's terrible.
But thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott, for that.
Thank you, Scott. Oh, God. What else is in here?
Mike, do you see anything that like stands out to you that you can dive in on?
If I quickly look over on my end, the first thing I see is every single Marvel movie reuses the same jokes. Thoughts? Anything there?
One could argue that there is a through line in those movies intentionally so that if you watch all of them, you can be like, I remember that joke from when he said it in the first Avengers movie. And that's kind of how comedy works in real life. There's memes and you call back memes.
There's playback.
Reddit is still doing the I also choose that guy's dead wife joke, and it's been like 7 years. And I don't know if you know what that joke is. There's like a post,
I don't.
There was a post on Reddit years ago where it was like, if you could have sex with anybody, alive or dead, who would you pick? And someone was like, my dead wife. And then the first response to that was, I also choose this guy's dead wife.
I've seen that.
So now years later, if people can fit it in anywhere, someone will be like, I also choose this guy's dead wife. And it's been like 7 years. So comedy like that does exist in real life, but I can understand if you're not into it, you're going to be like, are you fucking kidding me? We've been here already. But
for 7 years, Reddit.
Let's
see. What? Lion King is one of the most overrated Disney movies. The first third of the movie is really good, but after that, it becomes a snore fest.
Really?
I've never heard. Well, that's
that's why it's unpopular.
Yeah.
That's ballsy.
From our friend Roberto Motas.
Call him out.
No, I disagree.
Yeah. I really like Lion King. Yeah. I think part of the problem was that as a child, I didn't really get the concept of death. So the sad parts didn't really hit the way they were supposed to.
Fair. They hit me.
Other than that.
I was like, they can't just do that, right? That wasn't like just dying. That was like...
It's just fucked up.
We just witnessed a trampling. It was
a stampede.
This is the whole other thing I have to worry about now? Are you kidding me? My first mosh pit at 13, this is how it happened. Lion King warned me.
I was like, because I don't think I computed. I was like, wait, I would have been obviously incredibly young. I was like, okay, I saw a stampede. I saw the lion there. He seems really upset about it. What about this is not making sense to me? And that is that I didn't know that death was a thing. I was like, so what is he just like, he's saying get up. Why won't he like just get up?
Yeah,
like,
why didn't you?
And then they just continue the movie and I'm like, okay.
But no, I wonder if they mean that like really everything. Yeah, I think they mean like everything after that point is where it becomes a snore fest, which I still disagree. I disagree for sure.
Do you think you can give him any lenience for calling it one of the most overrated Disney movies, cutting out his second half of that?
Overrated?
I think it's actually pretty accurately rated.
Yeah, I think it's pretty accurate.
Because it's honestly one of those ones that when you see how much the fucking 2019 one made, it makes you upset that like the original can't stack up box office wise, even though more people have seen it. The only reason why the new one did well was because the original is so beloved and mostly universally liked. So I think that kind of.
I have an opinion on underrated Disney, though.
Okay, we can do that too. What do you think underrated?
I feel
Disney?
like Hercules.
Yes.
Is an incredibly underrated Disney movie.
Yes, that movie was so underrated. It never really ended up. Maybe recently it has, but it wasn't in like the Disney vault. I don't know if you guys know what the Disney vault is.
No.
There's only there for a while, and maybe still there's only there's windows that you could buy Disney movies in, so they could just constantly re-release things. So you only had like 3 months to buy Lion King on VHS. Then you only had it like once it came out on DVD. You had 3 months to get it on DVD. Same thing for Blu-ray. But then there was like a handful of movies that were Disney that didn't fall into that umbrella. And like Hercules was always one of them. And I only know that because I worked at a store that sold DVDs for years, and we'd always have it in at like a reasonable price. Whereas like the stuff that's in the vault, when it comes out of the vault, they're every time selling it for like $20, $30, $40. And then it resells for fucking insane because if you want it, it's the only way you can get it.
I blame the Puritans. I think they didn't want a movie on Greek mythology.
Possibly, because that movie is really good.
That movie's really good.
Yeah.
And of all the like the musicals of that like late 80s through the 90s, Renaissance era Disney or whatever, I think it's one of the best soundtracks too. So I'm just really upset.
Yeah.
that people really don't appreciate it. I hope that it slowly gets I guess at some point gets all of the recognition it deserves in retrospect, I suppose.
I can agree with that. And today's episode of the podcast is sponsored by Doritos, the all-natural, made with real sugar soda that comes in a glass bottle in a variety of delicious flavors like lime, mango, guava, and the ever-elusive watermelon. So if you want to figure out where to find Doritos yourself, click the link in the description down below to use their store locator and stop by Walmart to pick up their Fiesta pack so you can try all the flavors for yourself. Thanks again so much to Doritos for sponsoring this podcast. Yeah, Mike, do you got anything that you consider is an unpopular opinion that you either strongly agree with or disagree with?
You're saying of my own or something I'm seeing on here?
Either or. Like if you just got something, if something's jostled free.
The Irishman is the most forgettable Scorsese movie. It's a lethargic, bloated melodrama that is unintentionally funny in some parts. Maybe it's just something that was made too late, but seeing 80-year-old Robert De Niro as a 40-year-old try to convincingly beat someone up killed me. I agree with the last part of that because that's probably like the worst scene in the movie
when he goes to kick the dude.
Yeah,
and he's just like
De Niro's like trying to keep his balance. Basically, he's like, I can't fall down and break a hip.
Yeah,
so
like they could have used a body double there.
They 1,000% could have. So that's the worst scene in the movie, and I'll give you that. But I mean, I really like The Irishman. It could just be my attachment to like mobster movies. But
it's recent.
Is that movie the one that's like 4 hours long or something?
3 hours.
Three?
Yeah, 3 to 3.5. Or 3.5. Like maybe.
No. There was okay.
You're thinking that you're probably thinking the Justice League. You're probably thinking Snyder Cut. As far as I know, there was no other than the Snyder Cut. There's like nothing that's like approaching 4 hours. I don't think as an actual movie.
Because someone was saying like I think it was maybe. 3.5 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
So they were saying like if you wanted to watch it like a TV show, I remember someone put
there
up,
was
like,
ways you
had
could
like timestamps.
Timestamps like how to watch
it.
I just remember just being like, this is a long ass movie. And at some point it was like, there we go. That's the end. It was good though. Like I feel like if you like, like The Godfather and gangster movies like that, I think you'll
How long is Goodfellas?
Goodfellas is like 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. Okay, yeah.
Let me check. Yeah, Goodfellas runtime might be a little longer. 226, yeah. It feels longer in ways, though, I find. Like, there's something about Goodfellas hits a point where I feel like you become, like, aware of how long it's been running, but, like, not necessarily in a bad way.
Yeah, because there's like I remember on the old DVD I had, there was, like, a side B.
Yeah.
And even when you're watching it full on, like, it feels very much like, oh, okay, this is, like, intermission time almost. Like, damn, we're about to keep going.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're saying it was made too late. Like I said, I agree just because like the anti-aging effects that they had didn't really bother me that much. Like I said, it was really only that De Niro scene where I could tell like these guys are old as shit.
Yeah, it was.
But other than that, I mean, the acting was great. I enjoyed the movie a lot. So I disagree. Chase BG1.
I don't know if you saw one. There was the Scott Pilgrim one, but I don't know if we want to.
Oh,
what did you see?
I was gonna bring up like someone said James Wan is overrated. Us wasn't as good as Get Out. Fast and the Furious films are made for people who know which crayons have the best taste.
That's a good one.
I think at this point we all kind of know the Fast and Furious films are just kind of memes, right? Yeah. And like that's what it is. Yeah. You go in there, you turn your brain off, and you look at stupid shit.
Yeah.
I was gonna. My most like powerful opinion is they were wrong about Us not being as good as Get Out. I think Get Out was good, but just Us was better.
So
I need to watch Us again.
I like Us a lot, but I think Get Out's better. But I don't think that it's unpopular to think that Get Out was better than Us, because I think most people think that Get Out is better than Us.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
So I don't think that that's actually an unpopular opinion at all. I think that Kenny is unpopular and liking it more. But I don't think it's a bad opinion to have. Let me just clarify
I think this is just a running gag now. I like the things that people don't, except for Evan Hansen. And then...
Yeah, well, with like Us and Get Out is like Hereditary and Midsommar. It's like they're both great from directors who really know what they're doing, and it just kind of like something's going to resonate with you more that flips it in one direction or the other.
Mm-hmm. Literally, my only gripe with Get Out was like the comedic relief. I think we talked about this. I don't remember if this was on a podcast or if it was like in between filmings or something, but I remember saying something along the lines of like, I just didn't like the comedic relief guy in Get Out. I just felt like he messed with
the
mall cop.
The mall cop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just did like that.
I felt like he broke the flow of tension in a way. I mean, comedic relief, but in a way that was like unnecessary for that.
That's fair.
If that makes sense. So I was just like, I kind of wish they would have made him either a different type of character or just omitted him entirely.
That's fair.
I would have liked the movie better, but
I like him a lot, but I also really like horror comedies. So I really like the thing that that's a big love of mine. But
I think Us was comedic at times, but I felt like the comedy there worked better.
Okay, that's totally fair.
So I think that was that one. And also Scott Pilgrim still sucks. All right, let's sign it off.
No,
Amanda.
The best movie.
That's the end of the episode and the end of the season.
Fuck you.
Just like that.
As a Canadian treasure, you are disrespecting my culture.
Of Canada. Hey, my grandmother is Canadian. I can pull my percentage Canadian out as well.
Well,
it still sucked. No, it didn't suck. Scott sucks. But
Scott's supposed to suck. And that's what people don't get.
I don't care about a guy who sucks.
That's fair. That's fair. Maybe it's because I have sucked in my life too. And no, I have not dated a high schooler in my 20s because that's not a good thing to do and is wrong. But again, it's kind of like sometimes people can relate to the Christian character of Midsommar. Sometimes people can relate to like Scott Pilgrim being a little bit of a fucking asshole and selfish.
My thing is not that he's an asshole.
No, I get it.
I think it's like, because he's an asshole. Well, back to if you haven't seen my episode on In Defense of saying that Scott Pilgrim sucks, I was waiting for the nerds to get me with that one. I was waiting for a war to break out. I was like, should I private my Twitter? Like, what do I do now?
No, I think you're safe now.
I think I'm safe now. But like, honestly, I do love, like, of course, the visual aspect.
Okay, cool.
The graphic, I think it's incredible.
Sick.
I think it's amazing. I wish they would have done more movies in that graphic style. And there was a few others. I think Sin City or something came out several years before that.
Yeah.
And that had like a similar...
Yeah, I think Edgar Wright really graphic. Like nailed the like, we want this to feel like a comic book / like video game.
Yeah.
And with the editing and stuff. So like he...
And I love that. I think that's really cool.
Okay, good.
I think the visual aspect and like even the concept of like fighting through her boyfriends to find... Like, I think it's cute.
Yeah.
But like... he is so annoying. And it's like, I gotta trek through this fucking shit. Like, all right, let's get this asshole to self-discovery and his redemption arc.
Fair. It's probably, I just have to deal with dudes like this, so. So it doesn't bother me as much. If I knew a Scott, I'd be like, fuck this shit. I don't need to help somebody digitally as well as in real life, but like, so.
Like, I was just like, all right. I like Michael Cera, though. I think he played the role very well. Yeah. I feel like he gives off, like, annoying, like, nerdy, awkward, shy kid. I don't know if it comes naturally.
I think it does.
That probably does.
Yeah.
And for that, I give it's fine if you like it. And then go on right there.
What about you, Mike? Have you seen Scott Pilgrim?
I saw it like 8 years ago, and I remember liking it a lot. So I just I don't have a dog in this fight. You guys
doesn't matter. Let's go. I'm taking it. All right. Does anybody have like? Do you have any like? Do you know of any like unpopular opinions you have like right off the top of your head that you to just sign off with? Do we want to like? Because I guess that's Kenny's. I used to have so many, but I feel like a lot of my unpopular opinions have like come around full circle, and now they're almost going the other way again. Like I walked out of Avatar in 2009 and was miserable and thought it was ass, and everyone was like, "This is the best movie that's ever been released. It's so gorgeous. It's amazing." And then you gave it time and people were like, it's really not good other than the visual spectacle. But now that the second one's coming out, people are being like, no, Avatar is so good and I'm unashamed. And I'm just like, I still think it's ass. So
they're still making the second one?
Yes, that's now officially. They've started, the pictures are coming out, the trailers in theaters.
Isn't there like 4 or 5 parts coming out?
Yeah, there's a bunch of more parts.
Or planned out at least.
I think I'm going to be dead before anything after this one comes out.
That's fair.
Because I think that he will have to die before he gets through any of the other ones. But not that I want him dead. I'm just saying that like it's like it's like the George R. Martin thing here. Mm-hmm. Like he can only take so long between movies. Avatar came out in 2009, and we are 2022, and the sequel is coming out now.
It feels very like Kingdom Hearts adjacent. Like we're still making it.
We're still doing it.
It's just like, oh, okay. I was 5 and now I'm like 38. I'm so happy to see this.
Yeah. To see this triumph. Yeah. What about you, Mike? Do you got one?
Well, signing off on the finale on audio. Sorry. Okay, here's my hot take. Ready? What's the movie you guys like?
A movie we like.
What's a movie we like?
What's a movie you
You're
like?
just gonna say you don't like.
It's a movie.
It.
No. Hold on. This is serious. What's a movie you guys like? Shoot, quick. First movie that comes to mind. Social Network. Kenny.
I don't know why I can't think of any movie I enjoyed.
Showgirls. I know Kenny liked Showgirls.
I do like Showgirls. I do like Showgirls.
That's the one you went with. Okay, those didn't spark anything. Here's my unpopular opinion. I've never watched Star Wars, and I never have had any urge in my life to ever go watch Star Wars. As much as people talk about the good parts of it and the bad parts of it, it's just like I don't need to go into that world. It's not worth it for me. I can let that die and me die and never be any interaction between the two. That's my unpopular opinion.
I agree.
Keep it that way.
Despite Amanda the Jedi.
Don't care. It's like 80% ass. It's fine. And my favorite Star Wars movie is everyone's least favorite Star Wars movie. It's fine.
I think that's one that we actually all agreed on. Oh my God. Yay.
Hey. So that is going to do it. Yeah, honestly, at this point, a little bit, honestly. But that is going to do it for this season of Camp Counselors on the More Butter channel. Again, we are rounding the corner to 30,000 subscribers, so it would be awesome if you guys could subscribe to the channel. And keep an eye out for future episodes and different shows coming to the More Butter channel. You can check us out on Spotify as well. But you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, a bunch of different places at AmandatheJedi. Mike, where can they find you?
Well, you can find my blank screen over at YouTube, Mista GG, Twitter, the Mista GG, and you can find Kenny
at KennieJD on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all of them. KennieJD.
It's been fun.
It's really fun. So that is going to do it again. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you all later. Wait.
Not on the last episode. Come on.
Yeah. So that is going to do it for this season. And as always, even if we're not here to remind you, make sure to butter your popcorn.
Butter. More butter.